Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm Phaedra. Most of you know me, I'm sure. Welcome to the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius intention setting practice on the 15th of February. Thank you all for joining me. Give me just one moment. I'm going to make sure that I have the live stream pulled up in my browser so that I can keep an eye on the comments, because I can't always catch them on my phone for some reason. Not sure what's up with that, but sometimes comments on my phone just don't quite work right. But welcome. It's good to have you on. I'm very excited about tonight. Of course, we have the eclipse that we're working with. And actually, I'm going to get my charts handy. Sorry about that. It's the only thing I didn't get out was chart for the eclipse, and I knew that I might want to have a look at it while we're doing tonight's live stream. Although this is not the astro update, we're not recapping February this time around. This is just the intention setting practice for the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. So welcome everyone. And it looks like I've got the live stream right here, so I'm going to pull it up so I can see the comments. And so let's get started. Kind of a fun evening. Our eclipse is exact at 9:05 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or excuse me, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not Greenwich Mean Time. So that is today, just, what, 25 minutes ago? Well, 30 minutes ago. I think we're running a little bit late. So, but I'm glad to have you all. Very excited about this particular practice. I love eclipse time, even though sometimes it can be challenging. I'm just a big fan of change. I don't know why. I feel like it's always, somewhat for the best when we can manage change well. It usually improves our lives, so it's exciting. But welcome everyone. Let's kind of dive right into it. I'm not going to recap February, like I said. That's our Monday broadcast now. I do want to point out, of course, so typically what we recommend at the new moon, you set your intentions and then you take action, provided the astrology is right, at first light of the new moon. So usually within a day or two of the new moon, as you see the first light of the waxing moon, that's when you would take action. Typically that would fall within a couple days, so we're looking at like maybe the 17th of February, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend taking action on the 17th of February, so I'm going to suggest hold off. Maybe make your first action or take your first action towards whatever intention you set tonight on the 21st, because I do like that day a little bit better for making an initiation. The 17th is just a little bit too challenging for what I would want to see you have built into a chart for the beginning of some sort of venture. Okay, so keep that in mind. But let's jump right in. So grab your pen and paper, or if you have your chart handy, you may just want to make notes on a separate piece of paper. But what we're going to do is jump right into what house this particular new moon eclipse falls in by rising sign, and what the themes of that house are. So getting down to business for Aries rising, this is an 11th house new moon, so friends, organizations, and hopes and dreams, and that one's really kind of exciting. You have a really incredible opportunity to take action towards a long-held hope or dream in the 10 days following this particular eclipse, so exciting. For Taurus rising, this is 10th house, so career, awards, recognition, fame, and achievement. For Gemini, it's 9th house, which is communication, travel, broadcasting, higher education, law, philosophy even. For Cancer, is an 8th house new moon opportunity. So for Cancer, like I was saying, this is 8th house, so other people's resources, and so this can be things like your partner's income, or money that you owe other people, like debts, taxes, insurance, both insurance payments and payouts. It can also be wills or inheritances, or bonus or commission income if you earn money via bonus or commission income, or even lottery winning, so windfalls basically. That's 8th house. For Leo, 7th house, marriage and partnership. So this can include business partnership, and it also can include your relationships with other people in general. And then for Virgo, we have a 6th house new moon opportunity. So work, health, pets, daily routines. I really like the 6th house new moon opportunities for health. because it's always wonderful, you know, if you know that you need to take steps towards improving your health, if you can do it at that new moon when you're most supported, that's a fantastic opportunity. And right now it's on an eclipse, so you have the potential here to make lasting, permanent change in your health if you have Virgo rising or if you have Virgo sun. Okay. For Libra rising, this is 5th house, so true love and romance, children, creativity, risk-taking ventures, so like gambling, but also hobbies and, you know, sports, things like that. For Scorpio, this is a 4th house new moon, so home and family, real estate, your parents even. And for Sagittarius, it's 3rd house, so travel and communication, your neighborhood, your community, your siblings, extended family, and kind of your immediate environment, kind of. And then for Capricorn, 2nd house, earned income, wealth, possessions, also expenses. For Aquarius, it's your birthday new moon. Happy birthday, Aquarius. It's your 1st house, so identity, personality, self-expression, the physical body, the role you play or take on, or like how you show up in the world. That's all governed by the 1st house. So for Aquarius, with this being a 1st house new moon, I really love this opportunity because it's at a solar eclipse. It's a time when you can eclipse something out of your life quite successfully. It's in the 1st house, which of course rules the physical body. It's a wonderful opportunity to let go of a bad habit or an addiction especially, but a bad habit that affects the physical body. So take advantage of this eclipse opportunity. This is a really powerful one if you have Aquarius rising or even Aquarius sun. And then for Pisces rising, this is a 12th house new moon opportunity. So privacy, seclusion, secrets, the unconscious mind, that sort of thing. Also our spiritual life. So, you know, if you're looking at maybe pursuing a little more growth on the spiritual side of life, then this is a particular new moon opportunity where you could start such a journey. So there we have all of the houses this impacts by rising sign, and if anyone is jumping on late, just pipe in with whatever your rising sign is if you need to know what house this is going to fall into for you and what the themes of that house are. Excuse me. But talking a little bit about Aquarius and Aquarius archetypes. So Aquarius is the celestial water bearer, and the sign of Aquarius is usually depicted as, you know, a couple of wavy lines, right? Or as a person, usually a male, pouring out water from a vessel, right? This is the typical kind of imagery and archetype of Aquarius, the water bearer. That can sometimes cause some confusion because Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is not a water sign. Aquarius is a mental sign, very reserved, sometimes seen as cold, and not emotional. It's an air sign. It's a mental sign, and so that emotional connection is often absent or downplayed when we're talking about Aquarius as opposed to, say, one of the water signs. So don't let that water imagery confuse you. Aquarius is an air sign and not a water sign. But the archetype of Aquarius is that of future man, okay? So this is the man that is full of the world's knowledge and is ready to use it for the betterment of all mankind. And what happens when we reach that point is we kind of cross that threshold where all the knowledge that we've acquired, maybe through the Sagittarian house, through the 9th house, is now being put to use with wisdom behind it, right? Because it's one thing to have knowledge, and it's something else entirely to know what to do with that knowledge, right? The best course of action. And so Aquarius, like I said, is that future man who's gathered knowledge and is giving it back to the people for the betterment of mankind, for all of humanity, right? And this gets to talking a little bit about the principle of universal love, which is a very Uranian humanitarian principles, right? So all the things basically that we do for the collective, the way that we serve our brothers and sisters, right? So Aquarius let's talk about what it rules for a minute, picking up where we left off. It rules knowledge, science, and technology. It rules electricity. It rules genius and invention, innovation, and the future. And so to have a new moon on a solar eclipse in a sign that rules all of those things is really quite exciting, I think, anyway. It's a fun new way to be inventive with our lives, to be inventive on a personal level, right? So we can get in touch with our own inner genius and our own inventiveness in that way. So Aquarius, like its ruler Uranus, so Uranus, his planetary rotation, his diurnal rotation is perpendicular to what the rest of us do in the solar system, right? The rest of the planets. And so we see that as embodying kind of a rebellious nature, a rebelliousness against the status quo, a very individualistic personality, and somewhat kind of aloof maybe, and standing apart from the crowd in that sense. Now, keeping in mind that new moons represent opportunities to allow or invite the new into our lives, and ultimately to learn through expanding our boundaries and to grow as a result, I want you to think of ways that you can maybe just be a little rebellious tonight with your intention setting practice, but rebellious in a positive way, right? Rebellious in a way that'll help you get out of any ruts if you're stuck in ruts, right? So grab your pen and paper. If anyone is just joining us and needs to know what house and the themes of that house this particular new moon is happening in for them, just let me know what your sidereal rising sign is in the comments, and I will review your house. And in the meantime, grab your pen and paper. We're going to review the prompts for tonight's intention setting. So we can get started setting our intentions, and I'm actually going to share with you real quick what it says in my moon gazing journal for today's page. This is kind of fun. Let's see here. So this is in moon gazing journal. It says, astronauts who walk on the moon leave footsteps because there is no air on the moon. Their footprints will never fade. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, I guess, unless they get, you know, impacted by something flying around in space, then maybe they could be obliterated, if not faded. How about that? So here are our prompts. Actually, I closed my book. I'm going to open it back up because that's the page I need. The page talking about astronauts, which is kind of fun because that's like totally Uranus's domain, right? Science and cutting edge space exploration, astronauts. So take a moment to think about what new project, major initiation, journey, or goal you are ready to manifest in your life, in your experience related to the house this particular new moon is happening in for your natal chart. And take a moment to envision what would a radically new future look like for you in that area of your life. What radically new future would you manifest for yourself if you could? Any future. What would that look like? What, second prompt, what is your genius, or what is your zone of genius that you could tap into more deeply in pursuit of that? How could you tap into that zone of genius in service to your fellow human beings or to the world? And how would you disrupt the status quo there if you could? To what outcome? What would be your ideal outcome if you could disrupt the status quo in that part of your life? So I want you to take a few minutes to write down on your paper what you intend for this part of your life and what you want to achieve related to that. Spend a few minutes writing it out. If you have any trouble, stop and take some time and visualize it. I encourage you to visualize it anyway. I want you to keep in mind, like I said, we're not doing a recap, but we are on there's 2 points. So the one we already brought up is don't take your first action on the 17th, which is usually right around when we would normally recommend you would. Take your first action towards whatever intention you set tonight on the 21st. It's a much better day overall for initiating something new in the days after this eclipse. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. The second thing that I want you to keep in mind, here's what I like about new moons in Aquarius. And eclipses are just more powerful new moons, so that makes it a much more important opportunity to take advantage of. But this is the last new moon opportunity that we have in that 10.5-week time frame that I was talking about earlier at the beginning of this year, where all the planets are in direct motion. So you want to really use this, like, don't waste this opportunity. Set your intention, visualize it very clearly, be very clear, draw it out, take the time to draw it out this time around, and then, you know, put a reminder in your calendar if you need to on the 21st. Take your very first action. And it doesn't have to be a huge action, but it does have to be an action towards whatever it is you intend for tonight. Okay, and visualizing it, like I said, is a very powerful practice to support your intentions. And I like to think that the new moon in Aquarius is a fantastic opportunity to do your vision board if you do vision boarding. And I say that because we know Aquarius as being the visionary sign. So you can use this new moon to do your vision board for the coming 12 months if you haven't already done a vision board for the year. And I would strongly encourage you to do that anytime in the coming week. Okay, now with what you intend, what intention you set tonight, with that intention, what I want you to do is write an affirmation around what it is you intend to manifest or achieve, and then share your affirmation with us in the comments. I'm going to recap real quick what the prompts are that I want you to think about as you set your intentions. Okay, think about what new project, major initiation, journey, or goal you're ready to manifest. And related to the house Aquarius falls in your natal chart, what radically new future would you manifest for yourself if you could? What's your zone of genius, and how can you tap into that more deeply in service to your fellow man and in service to the world? Where are you denying your genius, and what can you do to tap into that genius? And how would you disrupt the status quo in that part of your life if you could do so, and to what outcome? So we'll spend a few minutes. I gotta think about this. It's kind of heavy stuff tonight with this eclipse. How's everyone doing? Need a few more minutes? I'm going to take a few minutes, well, at least 1 minute longer Don't tell anyone that I'm doing it, my sun and my rising sign at the same time. How's everyone doing? You ready to share an affirmation? I have to think of what I want my affirmation to be. I'm sitting here dancing. So exciting. I wish we could play music. It'd be much more fun if we have, like, you know, some background music. Would be cool. So mine is a 9th house new moon opportunity, right? Higher education, publishing and broadcasting, which is a lot of what I do, especially with the website and writing the horoscopes and publishing blog posts. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on, although I did take the time to write down some intentions that I'm setting for my sun sign. And I would encourage you all to do that, just to allow you to take maximum advantage of the fact that this is a new moon, our last new moon, while everyone is in direct motion. And it happens to be an eclipse, so that's really powerful energy. Do it for your sun and your rising sign. Take advantage of that opportunity. But I set my intention around radically transforming my relationship with my writing, with the whole idea of deadlines, which, I don't know, I don't like the idea of deadlines personally, right? So I find them kind of stressful. Maybe that's because I have a Capricorn sun and it's a commitment, right? So I get worked up about, I have this commitment, I need to meet it. And I totally want to radically transform my relationship with that. I totally want to shift how I see that. I want to shift how it feels inside when I think about deadlines or when I think about what I need to have done being written at what time. And so that is where I want to invite a radically new future into my life. And I've spent a little bit of time visualizing that. I think I'm going to spend some time later this evening after the broadcast, maybe doing a vision board around that to add to the vision board that I already have. And I would encourage you, if you feel so inspired, to do the same with whatever intention you set tonight. But if you're on, please share with us in the comments what your affirmation is around the intention that you set tonight. And I really encourage you with your affirmations to be to give it a positive focus. Like, don't set an affirmation about not doing something you want to stop doing, right? Because that's the backwards use of an affirmation. Set it around encouraging yourself and supporting yourself in the action that you're about to take, the action that you're considering taking on the 21st. And I'm really going to have to think about what that action is for myself. Now, I will share with you, where did I put them? I've written some affirmations around this because I've been working on this thought pattern because that's where we have all our power, right, is with our thoughts. So I've been working on this thought pattern, and I wrote some affirmations right around this exact topic. And so maybe what the eclipse is reminding me of is that I need to bring these back into my life on a daily basis and not just, you know, when I feel I need them. But here's some of the things that I wrote. I enjoy writing about astrology. It's true. I do. So why not use that as an affirmation? Because when I say it out loud, it really makes me feel good about what I do. I enjoy writing about astrology, right? So why not? If it's something that you enjoy doing, just make that your affirmation. Let's see. The right words just flow. There we go. My horoscopes and interpretations practically write themselves, and I complete them way ahead of schedule. I like that. So, share with us some of your affirmations. What is that you wrote for your intention that you are setting for whatever house this particular new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius is happening in. And do check your chart. I don't want to get too much into it because we covered that in the recap, but check your chart, see if you have any planets or points at 2 degrees of Aquarius or other air signs, so Libra or Gemini, or if you have at 2 degrees of a fire sign, so Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. If you do have a planet or personal point at one of those degrees, you are likely to be very personally affected by today's eclipse, and you may have felt that already in the months and the week leading up to this eclipse, or you may feel it yet to come in the coming week or so, or in the coming month and two. So keep an eye out, read up your February full horoscope by sign for your sun and rising sign. That's going to give you more in-depth information about how this particular eclipse will affect you. And how you can choose to use it consciously if you want to use it consciously like we're doing with the intention setting practice. And definitely come into the comments and share any questions that you have or your affirmation, if you will. And we'll see you next time. Join us Monday in just over a week when we have our next Sidereal Insights Astro Update on the Mystic Physics Astrology Facebook page. Thanks everyone for joining me. Bye!